Right, this is just a quick walk around video for a Honda Civic. This is a 1.4 SI model, 2010 car, which has done 48,000 miles. Car's finished in Nighthawk black. Looks absolutely superb, it really does. It's a lovely, lovely looking car. VTEC engine vehicle. But what I'll do is I'll just go around the car for you and pick up on anything I possibly can. Starting with the lenses of the car, absolutely clear, no cracks, condensation or otherwise on them. Front of the car is very, very clean indeed. There's hardly a stone chip to be seen. You'll probably see one or two, but bound to. Black cars look fantastic, as this one clearly does. But obviously any marks, they will show. And it's got one or two tiny little marks, but hardly anything worth mentioning. Brand new set of front tyres on the car. Front alloy, absolutely superb. Just tiniest bit of curbing on just on the edge of the wheel there. Just down there, just to show that's actually just looks like a polish mark. In fact, it is a polish mark, just where the wet won't allow it to go on. But it's very, very clean and crisp, it really is. Rear wheel, can't see a mark on that one, and tyres got tons and tons of tread on it. Coming around the back of the vehicle, I'll just squat down here just so you can see that near side is pretty much mirror smooth, can't see any indentations in there at all. Going around the back of the car, it's all very, very, very clean indeed, it really is. Offside of the vehicle, again, very clean, very crisp on the panel work there. Rear tyre again, it's got loads of tread on it, alloy pretty much unmarked in all honesty. And then the panel work down this side, again, very, very nice, really is. I said, if you look closely, there'll be the odd, very light mark on the vehicle, but I'm being hypercritical. It's a very clean vehicle, and final wheel there, in lovely condition again, just tiniest. I'll show you. The level of curbing I'm talking about is minuscule, but tiny little bit on there. And the tyre again, as with the other one, absolutely brand new. So a car exterior-wise in very, very nice condition. So coming into the boot area of the car, 60/40 fold on the rear seats there. All the fabrics back here in very, very nice condition, they really are. Power outlet up there, and down here we have this little storage area, sort of hidden console there. And then if you want to just give it a pull, yank back there, drop it down, you end up with another sort of 6 or 7 inches depth of boot space. But a huge boot on these cars. I've asked the last owner, because this car came apart exchange, if they do have the parcel shelf. If that's not forthcoming, they're only about sort of 30 quid off eBay if you want to buy one second hand, or we may be able to source one for you. So coming to the back of the car now, I've got the seats up in their vertical position. This forms part of what they call the magic seats on the Civics here, so you end up with this absolutely cavernous extra space in the back if you so wish. Back of the seats at the front there in very, very nice condition, generally speaking. Not always given, obviously kids tend to sort of play havoc with them. And then door card, apologise for light there, just where the sun's coming in or glare. Dead easy to drop these down, pull the lever up, drop it down. Bear in mind I'm doing this with one hand and holding a camera. Really beautifully engineered, and there you can see the half leather interior, which is standard on these SI models. So coming to the front of the vehicle now, driver's door card all in very nice condition. Sill area is all really good as well. Seats, very, very nice condition again. All the bolsters in absolutely super order, and likewise passenger seat there is in equally good condition. So sitting inside the car now, engine running. Just going to quickly show you, got a full complement of owner's manuals in the pack that it came with, and the lock and wheel nut key there. Dashboard, absolutely super condition. It's I can't really see a mark on it in all honesty. All working beautifully, pixelation's absolutely spot on the ventilation system there. Radio, dead simple and easy to use. Very, very high quality controls, they really are. Coming down here, gear lever again, all in nice condition. Little cup holders, or you can send these back by pulling these backwards and forwards. Again, all in beautiful condition as well. In the centre console here, we've got your USB jack points and power outlets. So it's cold morning, so I've got slightly shaky hands this morning, so I'll try and hold it more steadily for you. Best part of the dashboard from my point of view, this lovely two-tier design, absolutely superb. Coming in, 48,154 miles. There's no warning lights on the vehicle, obviously, as you know, the engine is running. And then you've got your audio controls and information display system controls there as well. But all in really, really fine order. So finally, just coming onto the engine bay now, beautifully laid out as you expect by Honda. On these later 1.4s, you can see, it's a VTEC engine. Engines always sound noisier on the video than they do when you actually stood here. But a wonderfully reliable unit, easy to achieve 50 to the gallon out of them, and they go on for an absolute eternity. What should follow now will be a video of this this very car. Right, this is a quick road test video. This is for a Honda Civic. This is the 1.4 SI model. Quite a rare beast indeed. This particular car just come into some part exchange. Has 48,142 miles recorded on the car, and is registered HG10DLY. Reason we do the road tests, as I said, all of them of course, is that we want people to see the cars in operation prior to coming to see us. That way, if there's any issues relating to the car, then obviously we can feed those back to you, and also just feed back our thoughts and any observations on the vehicle itself. If there's anything on the car I need to criticise, I will do so. I don't pull any punches on them, just to try and sell the vehicle. So, and what I also do is we do the road tests on the same roads just outside our premises, so it should be wholly representative of what any potential buyer or purchaser of the vehicle may find when they come and see and drive the car. Pardon me. What I try and do is start it do it in much the same order that you may do the car yourself, or and then sort of any observations I can come back to you. Starting with the engine of the car, this is the 1.4 VTEC engine, so it does use VTEC on these later Honda Civics. Engine, obviously a low mileage one, very, very well maintained. I think it's been serviced 6 times, way more than the actual schedule required, done by age rather than miles, obviously. But the engine starts literally first press of the button, settles to a very, very quiet, very smooth and even idle. There's no warning lights on the dashboard relating to the engine or any other part of the car either. But the engine pulls really sweetly. Don't think for a second that just because you're looking at a relatively big car, that the car engine can't cope with it, because it certainly can. It's I'm in 6th gear now, 40 miles an hour, and it's more than happy to pull, and it'll pull cleanly, crisply, and as with all Hondas, it's got a kind of a lovely kind of rorty edge to its engine note when you sort of get up on the rev range. It's they build quite beautiful engines, but the engine absolutely spot on. It really is. The clutch of the car very smooth in operation. There's no clicks and squeaks or rattles or anything on that at all. A bit of petrol engine, so it's not got wear into the clutch anyway, which should last a long, long time. But the actual biting point of the clutch is exactly where I'd want and expect it to be on one of these cars. Clutch then feeds through to the 6-speed gearbox, and in my humble, it is a humble opinion, I think it's the best gearbox of its type in its class anywhere. What it manages to combine is an ease of throw, an accuracy of throw, a quality of synchromesh, a quality of longevity and build quality within the box itself, pretty much unmatched. The problem with a lot of cars now, especially front-wheel drive cars of this age and era, is that you find that between the gear stick here and the gearbox mounted under the bonnet of the car, it's nearly always cables that are operating it. And unfortunately, when you lose linkage or direct linkage, then you sometimes lose a bit of precision with the gear linkage. It can be quite a artificial feel that you might get with the gear linkage. Over the postie, there we are. But in this case, it's a wonderfully defined gearbox. It really is. Synchromesh quality is absolutely second to none. Engages with a mechanical precision, but without any notchiness. There's no vagueness. That you get sometimes over light gear changes like Toyota and Nissan. It's just and you simply can't get lost. The linkage itself is just so crisp and well defined. It's fantastic, but I simply cannot detect any wear in the gear linkage at all. It's absolutely spot on. Where's this lorry going to go? Is he going in there or where? I don't know. Oh, it needs to flash me on. That's good. So in terms of engine, gearbox and clutch, sorry about that, just trying to negotiate around the lorry. In terms of gearbox, clutch and engine, absolutely brilliant. Cannot fault them, can't detect any wear in them anywhere. The whole car, as we're kind of a repeating theme in this video, has a real feel of tightness and tautness about it. Before I forget, it's worth pointing out that this is the 2009 model car, although 2010 registered one. This is where Honda did a whole host of revisions on the vehicle, mechanically and also aesthetically and cosmetically, to improve certain areas of the car from the earlier versions. More of that in due course, but it's really is a tight feeling vehicle. We've just done a pre-delivery inspection on the vehicle mechanically. Very little to report. Everything was absolutely spot on. Brakes were fantastic order actually. The discs and pads look like they're very new indeed. Certainly the brake pedal on the car is incredibly solid, no vibrations, very powerful indeed. The only thing that picked up on the pre-delivery inspection was the two front tyres are on a low side in terms of their tread. They're not illegal, but they're getting down there. So I'm actually doing this video en route to some tyre fitters to have 2 new tyres fitted to the car, so that'll be done before anyone sees the vehicle. Other things to note, suspension on the car, lovely comfortable vehicles, very precise in the handling. I think they've done a fantastic job on it, they really have. That combined with the steering, which you can see here tracks bullet straight, wonderfully quick steering rack, but it works fantastically in unison with the chassis, so they complement each other beautifully. The sharpness of the chassis means that as soon as you turn the wheel, it's there ready for it, and nothing worse than getting in the car with quick steering and a soft spongy chassis, because it can make for some interesting handling characteristics, especially at speed. But this just works so well, it really does. And again, the whole point of this video is to pick up on any issues there might be, and the things I'll be looking out for when driving these vehicles is to go over deliberately bumpy roads, and there's a big bump coming up in a second. And for the suspension, I want to be able to hear the noise of the bump, but not hear any kind of rattles or bangs after it. So hopefully in a second. There, that's the big bump, and there's nothing. And kind of thing I'm listening out for, and any prospective buyer should do as well. It's just kind of, sometimes it goes over a bump, it's a little bit of looseness, a bit of a shudder, sometimes you get a bit of a mechanical clunk or bang, and more often than not on pretty much all manufacturers of cars, that'll be things which are designed to wear before the major suspension components, things like little drop links, anti-roll bar links, the actual mounts for the struts on top and bottom, just get a little bit of looseness in them, but there's nothing in this car at all. It's absolutely wonderfully solid. Coming to the interior of the car, all in really lovely order. It's not been valeted yet, it's going to be valeted later today after the chaps have done the tyres, but it's not going to take too long. It's all in very nice order indeed. I adore these dashboards. I think it's a fantastic place to sit. It's very natural, straight ahead driving position, nothing askew. Everything falls to hand really nicely, so the ergonomics have been done very well. Because, to be honest with you, I don't believe there's a better dashboard in its sector in the marketplace. I think it's interesting, it's beautifully built, it's very easy to use. I mean, as you look across the main dashboard here, you've got this big, dead simple, easy to use radio, high up display there for your radio, ventilation, air conditioning, which all works beautifully, by the way. And then the first part, which is obvious to show it's a facelift version, this kind of pseudo carbon fibre plastic effect here. This used to be a black shiny affair which looked really lovely, but unfortunately with fingernails twisting around and pressing buttons, it just looked marked very, very quickly indeed. So they've gone for this, and that's really, really good. Also, this area here and around the gearbox lever, the gear lever itself, and up on by the window switches, they've made it out of a much more durable, scratch resistant plastic than the earlier versions, which were, again, bright silvers, were marked quite easily. But this is a far, far, far better finish on them. Then sweeping across the main, this two-tier part of the dashboard, my favourite part. What is utterly brilliant about it, you've got this high up speedo display which tells me my speed now. I'm coming to a 50-mile-an-hour limit, so I know I've got to slow down. But rather than taking my eyes off the road or the cars in front, as I'm looking ahead now, at the corner of my eye, I can clearly see the speed I'm doing. I don't have to bow my head down, take my eyes off the road. It's just fantastic, so clever. To the either side of the speedo, you've got a little rev warning light just to say you're getting close to the red line, and a little rev prompt light, a little green light that just flashes to say it might be worth changing up to improve your fuel economy. Then down below that we've got a more conventional pod, if you like, which big dominating sensor rev counter, dead easy to use. Then this kind of hologram sort of floating effect with the information display to give you things like, you know, fuel economy, trip meters, all sorts of stuff. Either side of that, we've got on the right hand side the fuel gauge, and to the left the temperature gauge, which on the Honda should be a third of the way up, which is exactly where this is at operating temperature. And then the rest of the dashboard architecture, just beautifully done. All the switches work exactly as they should. There's nothing I've pressed on the car hasn't worked. Absolutely spot on. So in all honesty, apart from the front tyres, which I'm attending to now, I simply cannot fault the driver of the car. So if you're coming from 5 minutes up the road, or making a trip across Europe, as we quite often get with our customers, you're not going to come and see or drive a car that does anything other than drives exactly as it's intended to. It is certainly one of the best examples I've driven, just given just how tight it feels. If I've missed anything on the video, please don't hesitate. Do give us a call, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.